Thank you. All right, got it. So, all right then, I'm going to welcome everyone here to our August 10th meeting. It is being recorded. I'm going to call the meeting to order. And I'll remind everyone to please turn your cell phones off or place them on vibrate so it doesn't disturb the meeting. I'll ask everyone to declare a conflict of interest if it arises, or declare it now. And our first item here is minutes from the July 6th council meeting. I'll look for a motion to receive those minutes if they're in order.
Motion to receive.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Giroux, seconder.
Second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, seconded by Councillor Ellis. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, thank you. I'll look for a motion to go into a public zoning bylaw amendment meeting. Moved by Councillor Webb. And seconder, Councillor Pomeroy. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, the reason for this zoning bylaw amendment meeting is it's a statutory meeting held under Section 34 of the Planning Act. The owner applicant is Drain Brothers Excavating. The property is described as part of Lot 7 and 8, Concession 4, Belmont Ward, having the property roll numbers of 1531-010-002-15800 and 1531-010-002-16200. Any persons may attend the public meeting and or make verbal or written representation either in support or in opposition of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment. Please keep your video off and your microphone muted during the meeting until the chair invites comments regarding the planning matter. If a person or public body does not make oral submission at the public meeting or make written submission to the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen before the proposed zoning bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen to the Ontario Land Tribunal. If a person or public body does not make an oral submission at the public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen before the proposed zoning bylaw amendment is passed, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal unless in the opinion of the tribunal there are reasonable grounds to add the person or public body as a party. If you wish to be notified of the passing of the zoning bylaw amendment, you must make a written request to the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen. With that, I'll open it up to Darrell Tye, our planner.
Good morning, Mayor Martin and members of council. Before we begin, I appreciate the opportunity to very quickly introduce Claire Champagne. Claire is a planner with the department here. She's a graduate of the University of Waterloo School of Planning. She joined us actually 3 months ago to this day. She, in my estimation, over the 3 months, she has a very bright future in our profession. So Claire, say hi to Mayor Martin and the members of council.
Hi, nice to meet you. Thank you for letting me join today.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks, Mayor, for letting me do that. This is a statutory public meeting under Section 34 of the Planning Act to consider a proposed amendment in the name of Drain Brothers Excavating. I'm able to confirm for council that notice of the public meeting was given on July the 6th, 2021 in the form of Havelock Rail, Community Press, the website, as well as social media. All property owners within 120 meters received notice, as well as the property was posted. The subject lands comprise approximately 42.5 acres of land located in part lot 7 and 8, concession 4 of the Belmont Ward. And the application is requesting that the lands be rezoned from rural to extractive industrial, which would serve to expand the existing quarry operation. The lands are adjacent to the existing quarry operation, which actually originally licensed in the 1970s. So it's been in operation for several decades. Approval of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment would facilitate a license amendment under the Agri Resources Act which is the responsibility of the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry. According to the information submitted with the application, the proposed rezoning is for extraction only. There will be no processing such as screening and crushing, no storage of scrap, and no fuel storage on that portion of land. In support of the application, we received a variety of technical reports to support the proposal: an archaeological assessment, a hydrogeological assessment, a natural environment report, a blast impact study, as well as a noise impact study. All technical reports have been peer reviewed by or to the satisfaction of Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry and or other provincial agencies that may have been circulated. Council, the truck access would continue to be to this land from the existing main access entrance from Highway 7. There's no proposal at this time to access the subject lands from the third line. That would certainly be another matter on another day if that were to happen. It's not the proposal at the moment. Distance-wise, I'm able to confirm that no part of the subject lands to be rezoned would be further to the east than lands already zoned M2 and which have been zoned M2 for several decades. Written submissions received. We have received, I believe, a total of 6 submissions, all residents of the Belmont third line, all expressing concern opposition to the proposal. It is important to note that the township has no direct authority over operation details such as hours of operation or blasting schedules. Those items are addressed through the licensing process of the Agri Resources Act, which is M&R. And a lot of the public submissions made focused on items that really are not within the purview of Township Council. Accordingly, it's our recommendation that that subject to any new information received prior to or at the public meeting today, the council proceed to pass the enabling bylaw, which is presented as drafted, and those are my comments.
All right, thank you, Daryl. And we did receive a number of submissions that I know Bob has circulated, and a lot of the comments or questions were similar. When you mentioned the access being off of the third line is not a part of this application, would that be a separate application if they wanted to change something in the future, which I don't suspect they will, but that was a concern, the third line access. Would that be a separate application?
That would be a separate request of the township to allow for a non-farm entrance off of the third line, which I would estimate, Mr. Mayor, to involve a traffic impact study incidental to the capacity of the third line to handle any truck traffic, as well as a MTO would be interested, I believe, very interested in any ensuing intersection between the third line and Highway 7. So the proposal before council today is to continue to extract, but bring the product west out through the main entrance after processing, but not on this land.
Okay, thank you. And the other one would be water. You know, a number of questions around that, and I've seen this in other cases that would be addressed through Drain Brothers.
The clarification, the issue of wells.
Yeah.
That would be a subject that would be addressed through the license process through MNRF and with the operator. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Well, I'm gonna I'll open it up to council here, and if you maybe it'll clear up something. Go ahead, Councillor Webb.
Yeah, I just had a question, Daryl. You said that as part of the licensing agreement, they that was where they do the operating times and the blasting times. But in terms of the distance from where the blasting is occurring in these houses, Is that a part of that too? Like who sets those regulations?
Through the chair,
Getting
that,
quite a few letters in terms of people that have already had their house damaged, you know, based on where they're blasting already. So I mean, if they're getting closer, who would be the authority on that?
through the chair, to Councillor Webb, that is a matter that's addressed through the license process with MNRF. The MNRF, of course, do require a blasting impact assessment. One was prepared as part of this application, and all the reports were circulated to the township as well. That blasting report was accepted by the provincial bodies as being consistent with MOE standards. In the event of, and certainly the applicant's agent may wish to speak to this further, but in the event where there are concerns, complaints about an existing operation, there is a reporting process with the ministry. There's a protocol in place, and the situation, and depending on the magnitude, the operator would be requested to or required to adjust his blasting program in order to mitigate those impacts.
Thank you for that, Daryl. I just want to ensure that some of these people who live around there have some recourse if there is damage to their houses. So thank you very much.
Okay, if there's no other questions from council right now, there will be an opportunity in a few. Bob, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. I just wanted to clarify for all those who are interested in listening or watching, with respect to all comments received, those that were received prior to publication of the agenda were included in the planning report. Those that came after were circulated to council and to the planning consultant.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. And so I'm going to go into inviting the public with their questions or comments, and I'm going to ask staff that there's a ton of people on the screen, so if you could help me out here, make sure I don't miss anyone. But as people light up their screen, I'll go to them, and the others can keep them off until that person is done. So so I'm going to start off with anybody wishing to speak in opposition to this application. There is no order here, so I'll just look at if somebody wants to turn on their video or speak up.
Hello, Mayor.
Hello.
This is Bill Hay, and I'm here with Ron Giroux and Bill Hay Sr. as well.
Okay.
Sorry, Doug Giroux. And we'll let Doug go first here.
Morning, Mayor.
Okay.
Okay.
Good morning.
Yes. Question about the map that we have been circulated. I understood he said 42 acres is what the subject land is.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Yes. Why is it drawn on this map clean down to number 7 highway and clean way past my particular piece of property, which is on the 3rd line, it's basically right across the road. So the map to me is very confusing. That's one of my questions. And how did that M2 become north? Had they owned that property all these years beyond the subject land today?
Okay. Daryl, can you speak to that, or?
I'm not sure, through the chair, I'm not sure what map is being referred to. I'm looking at the schedule to the zoning bylaw, proposed zoning bylaw amendment.
I have that.
Yeah.
And the parcel of land that is in the name of the applicant, the eastern limit of that parcel of land is some 2,000 feet to the west of the 3rd line. And the parcel of land then extends, subject lands then extends somewhat to the south, but the southwest to the west of the existing wetland. So in fact, the M2 zone on the subject property extends virtually all the way to the midpoint between the concessions.
That's what I understood. But so how did that become an M2 if he just bought the property here a few years ago?
Through the chair, the zoning runs with the land, not the owner. And that property that's presently zoned M2 has been zoned M2 since back as long as I'm aware of, at least 1995. No doubt it was already zoned M2 when the core was operated by 3M.
And prior to 3M then, and then the Drain Brothers.
And then the Drain Brothers, I believe,
So
purchased the
when
land.
they purchased the stuff, the original quarry, which is in the 5th and 6th concession, correct? And it's been operating there for well over 100 years. Then they've always owned that property up beyond there and has been not been farmed, or it's not been done anything else to?
Through the chair, I don't have the information incidental to historical ownership, I'm afraid. This
Well,
is the app.
Sorry, it seems to me that this little oddball piece of land has been part of it, or is this a newly acquired piece of property, or how can you do that? My property has all been surveyed. If you look straight across the road, and where it says, if you'll see a little thing subject to change it, with that piece of lettering there is on my piece of property on this map here. I have 2 pieces of property there, and they're only becomes less than 50 acres there. And yet you're saying this is only 42 acres and looks like about 3 times as much.
The portion being through the chair, the portion being rezoned is not a rectangular or a square property. Those lands are not a consistent configuration. They're simply remnant lands around the existing M2 zone, which is an odd looking lobe extending from the existing operation through to the northeast. So this application is essentially squaring up the zoning around that lobe.
Are we looking at the same picture, Daryl? Because I'm looking at the one with the green square there. It's kind of square. It's a little bit, and it's got a strip that runs down to Highway 7, a road allowance or something down to Highway 7. Is that the one we're talking about?
Well, I'm looking at the schedule to the draft amendment. I'm sorry I don't have screen sharing, but I'm looking at the schedule to the draft zoning amendment that was attached to the report.
That's
Yeah.
what we're looking at.
That's the one we
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, and
Okay.
Oop, we
and-
just don't.
That
Yeah,
one.
go
That's
to
right.
the schedule, Bob. Is that the end?
So that map that was just pulled up there was it was a map that was sent out originally. And that's for a different thing altogether. That's the map that we have.
Yes, that's the key map, and the schedule to the zoning bylaw is essentially a blow up of that, and it distinguishes between lands that are being rezoned from rural to M2, but also lands that are being rezoned from rural to EP because of the environmental impact study that actually delineated on the ground by survey the precise limits of the wetland. So there was a need to rezone a ribbon of land along the wetland to include EP.
So the white part there that was already M2 from the previous owner, and that little big hash mark green there is the new part, and the gray is the protected wetland, right?
That's correct, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. So it's working around that protected area.
Mhm. Okay, I understand now. Thank you. Then that brings to my next question, sir, is where if you can see where it says, what's it say there?
land subject to amendment.
Yeah, so my property's right there, so, so that's exactly 2,000 feet to my house from where the proposed property is. So again, I'm going to oppose this because of the shaking and blasting that goes on over on the 5th or 6th line, which is 2 concessions further away. So what's going to happen now when they start doing this blasting? I know you already said before that's not up to the council about blasting, but I think it is a concern for the rest of us down here. Thank you very much.
You. Okay, then. So there was several in that with at the Hay site there. Is there anybody
Yeah.
else?
Yeah, I was just wondering, Bill Hay, Senior,
All right.
the proposed area is right beside the wetlands. What did Crow Valley, like, how can they allow blasting that close to wetland? Like, how did that get passed?
And I imagine it's went through them, Daryl.
Through the chair, I have no record that Crow Valley even commented on the application. I'm not sure of that. However, it was certainly the subject of the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry's review, as were all the studies. I anticipate that the representative for Drain Brothers may be able to elaborate on that peer review process in greater detail.
All right, thank you.
Have you any comments on the whoever did the study that close to the wetlands? Have you any comments on what they said?
Okay, for representative from Drain Brothers, is that Mark Greens?
Mr. Mayor and council members, my name is Bernie Furman. I'm the consultant and I'm sitting in Mark Gein's main Norwood office. Okay.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, I had some technical issues at my home computer when I received the invitation. So therefore we've consolidated ourselves here in the Norwood office.
Okay. Do you have any answers to that as far as process or?
Absolutely, sir. Okay, so first of all, just if I could take one moment just to explain who I am, just to assist all parties. I can say I'm the consultant that's involved in processing and assisting Drain Brothers with the license application. I've been working in it for about 30 years. I'm a former M&R inspector. So I was charged as the project lead to coordinate all of the preparation of the studies for the license application, including the natural environment work that was done to assess the site and the surrounding lands to the area that we're licensing adjacent to those wetlands. And I can assure council and all parties that there's been a thorough, multi-season assessment of all aspects of the natural environment component for the area and the adjacent wetland. And that has been sent to the Conservation Authority for comments. Normally, they generally only kind of comment on things when there's a flood-related issue, but primarily the circulation of those reports have been sent to the Ministry of the Environment because they are charged with endangered species, and to the Ministry of Natural Resources through their ecologist and biological staff to review.
Okay. Were there any concerns from any of those agencies regarding the wetlands, or was it all just fine? Like, do you have any notes on any of their concerns?
Typically, agencies always come back with questions or requests for clarifications. We are actively engaged in responding and working with those agencies to provide them with whatever additional information they may need. But we're confident that we have a solid and well-prepared proposal, and that appropriate assessments have been completed.
So you have no information on that topic at all? None?
I think it's been answered there. It's went through the process, and normally something comes back if there's a concern.
Did anything come back as a concern?
Mr. Furman, did anything come back as a concern then?
Well, they're always in these things because both ministries do a thorough assessment. You know, they would come back with questions about, you know, did you review this aspect, or did you look for this certain species? And if so, what did you find? And so those are typical things that come through, even though we've provided them with a detailed report. Sometimes they look at the report and they have questions, and we're providing them with those answers. And the work is ongoing. The bottom line is it is our expectation that we will provide both agencies with full satisfaction of all of their questions, because ultimately the Ministry of Natural Resources is the licensing agency. Should we be successful through our rezoning component, they are charged with ultimately reviewing and deciding on the license. They won't issue the license until their concerns have been addressed.
Okay. That's good.
Mr. Mayor, it's Bill Hay Jr. I just wanted to ask a couple questions here. The gentleman in the planning department previously had mentioned that there was a blast impact study and a noise impact study. I've been here since drains opened, and you know, I'm up the road from this proposed location, but I can tell you right now that the blasting that happens here right now shakes our house on a weekly basis. And further to Councillor Webb's comments on the residents' concerns, getting closer within 2,000 feet of the roadway and the people on the east side of the road and the west side of the road, how are we going to make sure that we're not disrupted any more than we already are with blasting, with noise, with dust? I mean, it's great that people can do an assessment, but when you live here and you're going through each one, we're living the assessments through each blast. You know, I've got cracks in some of my home features. Can't really prove where it came from, right? But it's a new home, so I know this blasting closer to the third line, it's impactful to everybody here. And it sounds like it's not anybody in this meeting's issue to deal with. But as a resident of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen, I want that noted that I have high concerns of the blasting and the noise impact. And I would actually like to see what the studies say. I don't know if that's something that I'm able to request, but I would definitely like to see more information on what studies have been done, because it's a weekly thing around here, right? Yeah, we get a phone call. They tell us that they're blasting. It doesn't do anything for the amount my house shakes.
Okay. All right, then. And that's what I ask everyone, is to get your questions or concerns out here. That's what today is for. And it's all being recorded. So sorry, Mr. Mayor, didn't mean to. The one other question I have is about the impact to well water here. When we start digging holes below the water line, you're going to change the water line, water table. You know, I've been here for a long time. We start digging pits and stuff like that closer to here. It's gonna potentially cause issues with well water quality and quantity. And I would like to know what the path forward is for that, and how drains is going to make sure that my water for my family here is not impacted. okay, and Daryl, can you answer that?
Well, actually, the previous comment through you, Mr. Mayor, all of the reports have been available for public review since notice of the public meeting was given back on July the 6th. The notice that was circulated indicates that anyone wishing to see the information simply contact the township office, and the township office has been open to varying degrees for the last couple of weeks. So those reports are available.
So it said there's a blast impact and noise impact notice available at the town office, and I can go get it. I don't remember reading that.
Through the chair, the notice just said obtain additional information. So typically it would be incumbent on the reader of the notice to investigate what information is available and then go from there, and it's available at the office.
And through other applications, I've seen there is a way of how to deal with wells, and that is all included in the information. As far as if there's any issues or concerns, there's a way to address it through this process, if I'm not mistaken.
Through the chair, perhaps Mr. Furman can assist with that question.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Daryl, and council. Yes, the application package contained all of the studies that Mr. Tai has listed in the planning notice. They are available publicly and actually have been available since we first circulated the application in early 2020. So we've been at this application process for a time where we've had application packages available to left at the township, the county, and at the Ministry of Natural Resources office. Just generally about some of the questions about issues of blasting, noise, and groundwater. For informational purposes, I'd like to just respond to say that I would urge all parties who have an interest in understanding the proposal more fully to review not only the reports, but the site plan, okay? The aggregate resources site plan, which was also left at the municipality. It contains a specific and detailed provisions in terms of groundwater monitoring, the frequency and what we're looking at and what we would be required to do. It speaks to blast monitoring and how that will be conducted. It talks about adaptive management should conditions change. And it also speaks to provisions that implement the recommendations of all these technical reports into practical mitigation measures on sites, such as a large berm to be constructed along the eastern boundary of the application area. All of those details, and really the devil is in the details, and I would urge folks to look at that. If they look at any other document, look at the site plan, and there I'm confident that they will find detailed provisions.
Okay. All right.
Just to comment on that comment there, so currently we do have monitoring here for blasting at our homes, at some of the homes, and it's only upon request. It still doesn't do anything for any issues that come up on people's homes, right? It's fine that you're doing monitoring, but the path forward, as you say, is just to come up and repair whatever's broken, right? So they can monitor it, but if there's a big blast and it wrecks something like a window, which has happened, cracks in fascia stone or whatever, it gets fixed. So it doesn't do anything for the disruption of the neighbors and the community around here.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any information on how deep they're going to be going down into the rock to extract?
That's all in the report, Phil. Everything is in the report, and I think that's the detail that you need to review, but all the information is in there.
Mr. Mayor, that's available at the town office?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's in that report that we have today too. So that's what's at the town office. So most of those questions can be answered by reading, the details there, and it saves you looking it up online.
Okay, we'll come in and grab some. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Ellis, you had a question?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, and I would direct the question to Bernie, if he would. Over the past few years, this is not the first time, you know, there's been complaints and studies done regarding blasting, noise, and the vibrations. You indicate a blasting study done for this new location. How would that be possible to have a study done for that new location when it's not in operation yet?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Ellis and all interested parties. So currently the existing license, okay, that's been in operation since the 1940s, okay, permits drilling and blasting with very little actual formal controls in terms of the site plan, because the site plan is an old document. However, that said, it has been the ongoing practice of Drain Brothers to actively monitor the existing blasts. So what happens when we prepare a new blast? We had to prepare a new blast assessment because we were seeking a new license. Okay, that sliver of land that's, you know, before us here today. So as part of that required government process, we had to hire a qualified consultant that would look at all of the historical blasting data, okay, look at all of the scientific and technical recording information, then look at the actual land that we're seeking to license and design a blast report with mitigation measures and recommendations that would say, okay, you're allowed to blast in the existing site, and that's happening, and that's fine, provided you keep monitoring and are within the provincial standards. Now, if you want to blast into the new site, here's what you need to do. And the message there is all sort of contained in our site plan, which speaks to the specific measures that we have to abide by. Okay. So it is quite possible and always possible, you know, to do a blast assessment for a site that is adjacent to, but not operational. And we have the benefit of using existing data instead of a conceptual or hypothetical type thing. We have practical information and records that we can rely upon to prepare a very well prepared technical blasting report.
Okay.
And just one last thing, you mentioned the new site plan that depicts a berm and so on. That report would have been, I think, beneficial to not only council, but for all those residents that have concerns. Had it been available for this report.
Mr. Mayor, and through to you, Councillor Ellis, that information on that berm design is contained within the noise impact assessment. Okay, and so that's where a qualified consultant is looking at, okay, we have provincial guidelines that say that you can make a certain amount of noise. How can we design this new site or this small expansion, what we're looking at, to make sure that we do not exceed the provincial guidelines? And how to do that is to have certain operational controls and also look at mitigation measures such as a berm, okay, to control noise. So long as those things are in place via the site plan, then we will meet the noise guidelines set out by the province and be in compliance.
I understand what you're saying there, but all my comment was, if that information had been supplied for this meeting for the residents that are concerned, it may have appeased a little bit of the concerns. Probably not all, but it would have been good information to have. And thank you.
Okay. All right then. So I'm going to ask, is there anybody else wishing to speak in opposition of this application?
Yes, I would like to speak in opposition. My name is Emily Bergeron. I have a property on County Road 48, and this expansion encroaches towards my property. It's an old schoolhouse that's more than 125 years old, and blasting could impact its structure, the enjoyable use of the property, and future resale. I don't have any other questions. They've been answered, but yeah, I'm a little disappointed in the way that information has been communicated and how accessible it is during COVID. We can't expect everyone to be able to walk into the office and collect this material. I think it's kind of shameful.
And I think that's why we put it in the newspapers too, just in case. But
Yeah, I don't live in, this is a recreational property. I don't live full-time. So again, I don't understand why most of these things aren't sent by a PDF digitally, much like this meeting. That's all I have to say.
okay, thank you. For the record, you're on the list here. So is there anybody else wishing to speak in opposition? I'll ask for the second time. Is there anybody wishing to speak in opposition to the application?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and state your name and
Yeah.
where you're from.
Yeah, hi. My name's John Senior. My wife and I, Patty Sando, we just recently built a house on the third line. We would verbally oppose any change to any kind of zoning in the property that's stated. We're happy here. We've put our life savings here into building this house on the third line. A lot of concerns about the well and just, you know, the blasting. It's upsetting. I don't really want this to move forward. That's basically all I would say.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thank you. And hopefully some of your answers hopefully some of the things are answered today and help with some of the things that are going on. But keep an eye on how things move forward.
Will.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we will. It does upset me too when you say, you know, there are solutions to it. There's a process we can appeal and things, if, you know, in regards to the water and that. But, you know, I see the permit blasting down 500 feet down into the ground. I mean, they don't know where our water lines are, where, you know, the source for our well, the source for all the wells on the street altogether. I mean, you could blast the rock apart, hit the water. I mean, you're not going to be able to put the rock back together and repair the water, are you? What are we going to do? We'll own a house with no water.
So the one thing to keep in mind today is we're just talking about a sliver of land that there's already, the other part of it is already existing. This is just a sliver that runs up the side of it.
Yeah, I see that, but it's not a sliver. What is it? It's, you know, several hundred feet wide. I mean, we don't know the source of our water for our well. I mean, when they drilled our well, he told me it was in a fracture of the rock. We were happy. We got good flow in our well. You know, now you're going to blast a whole bunch of rock more, you know?
Okay,
I don't know. Just, I oppose any sort of change. That's all. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak? Is there anybody else wishing to speak in opposition for the final time? Hearing none, I'll move on to, is there anybody wishing to speak in favor of this application? Second time, anybody in favor? And third time, anybody in favor? Okay, I'll open it up to council. Is there any other questions or comments around this application? All right, so we do have a recommendation here. Oh, Deputy Mayor Giroux, go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Martin, to everyone present. This is an issue that's a community issue. It's a concerning issue to a lot of neighbors. We do live in the Canadian Shield, and I guess some days we think we should be lucky to have the resources in our community that we have. I feel that way in respect to the homeowners that live near there. As it's been stated, council does not have a lot of authority. The ministries have the authority, whether this will go forward or not. But that being said, we do take into consideration the people that involves all of councils do take that into consideration. But we also take into consideration the viability of the community and our township for years to come. It's just a comment, Mr. Mayor. I know it's a decision that'll have to be made, and we want the best for our community, for everyone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, so the recommendation here is that subject to any information, public comments received prior to or at the statutory public meeting, the draft bylaw be passed as presented. Does anybody want to move that we pass this? Go ahead, Councillor Pomeroy.
Yeah, in fairness to everyone that's in opposition that didn't get the paperwork from the office, I think maybe if they had it and read it and understood it better, that we're not just trying to bulldoze, and we're taking ministry guidelines and our consultant and everyone else here. So I feel that if they could pick up something at the office, knowing that it wasn't open all prior to this, that maybe they would feel better. I don't know, but I think we should give them the opportunity to get this paperwork.
Okay. So what are you saying? Defer this?
Well, like I said, in all fairness, these people that have spoke don't understand, and they have not read any of the proposals from government sources. To clarify, council, we're not trying to shove this through without them having full information and understanding the process. So I don't like deferring things, but I also like to have the public educated and aware of what the process is.
So, yeah, and I totally agree. It's nice that like everybody can, they can still access and see, as long as council is comfortable that everything was done right. I think that's the other option here too. But Deputy Mayor Giroux, go ahead. And then I'll look for a motion. I'll look for a motion after that, one way or the other.
First of all, Mr. Mayor, are we going to decide on the application at this present time? If we are, seeing that this the information has been available for some time, and to open a discussion between council to debate it, there has to be a motion, I would think, on the floor. So I'm going to make the motion that we accept the recommendation, and then council can debate it.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
my motion.
All right, so we have a motion that we accept the recommendation here. Is there a seconder for that? And then we can talk about it.
Second the motion through you, Mr. Mayor.
Seconded by Councillor Ellis. Open for discussion now. Is there, speak to the motion about this recommendation? And I think Councillor Pomeroy, you had stated about letting people read it first. Council has all read it, and we've went through the process and have directed all the public to go and get the information, and we think that they'll be satisfied. As much as nobody likes change, there is everything has been covered. A lot of those concerns have been covered. So Councillor Webb, you had something?
Yeah, I just want to know if to Councillor Pomeroy's point, is this project time sensitive? I mean, if we did move it back just to the first month in September, so these people could, I would be in favor of sending it out probably through the computer. I think they would get it faster that way if we could get their emails and having them come into the town. But I just want to know from maybe Daryl or Bernie, is the project time sensitive, or would 3 or 4 weeks, be a problem here?
Through the chair to the councillor, I'm not immediately aware as to the sensitiveness with respect to timing. I know that we received all of the documentation in hard copy, but honestly, I haven't checked the memory stick to see what all is on that. However, I'm quite sure that whatever the township office doesn't have electronically, Mr. Furman would undertake to provide that to us.
Thank you.
So what we're dealing with today, like I say, is this piece of the amendment. The rest of it is still going to go through a process here for the licensing. This is just a part of the licensing process. So, you know, we can make sure that the public is still informed, but as far as our part of it here, there's no reason why we can't make a decision today and just make sure that the public understands it completely. That's just my thoughts. There is a motion on the floor now to accept the recommendation. So is there any other comments or questions around that? I'm not.
I'd like to speak to it if I may.
The public meeting has been closed.
Okay.
Okay, that's this is the council portion. Councillor Ellis, go ahead.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, just to add to Councillor Pomeroy's comments. Would it be possible for staff to supply either by email or by paper mail a copy of what we've got for information and include Mr. Furman's comments regarding the new site plan with the berm and have all the residents that are concerned at our meeting today get that information?
I would think that'll be ongoing, Bob, but can you speak to that?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, staff is happy to provide any information that's requested of us and that can be made available to us. We're happy to provide it.
Okay. All right then. So is there any other questions? Councillor Pomeroy, go ahead.
So what is the motion here, Mr. Mayor? And, you know, explain the process. Are we, I'm kind of in the dark here in a couple of spots.
The motion was to go with the recommendation that the draft bylaw be passed as presented and the balance of the report be received.
Okay, it's just the draft.
Yeah. And then the next part would be the bylaw, whether we want to deal with it right away or at the end of the meeting. So the motion is on the floor. I'm going to call a question. All in favor of the motion? Okay, and that's carried. So so now the question is, there's a lot of people on the line here. Do you want to deal with the bylaw now, or do you want to leave it with bylaws at the end of the meeting? It's up to council here. Deputy Mayor Giroux.
Think everyone's on the meeting. Everything's been discussed. I would prefer to deal with the bylaw now. Then there won't be any confusion when the motion is made. That it would include that all the pertinent people that had objections be given any and all opportunities to receive any information pertinent to the process.
Okay. All right, then. Do you want to make that a motion? So, well, we have to wait till we come out of the public meeting, so we'll deal with that now. So I'll look for a motion to go out of the public meeting. Moved by Councillor Webb. Seconder, Councillor Pomeroy. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, so we're back in the open meeting. So sorry, I should have done this after, but Deputy Mayor Giroux, you stated that you'd like to deal with the bylaw now, so everybody present can see where we're at. And did you want to make a motion? The bylaw is to amend the comprehensive zoning bylaw 1995 42. Did you want to do a short reading there, Bob?
Not really.
We heard you.
I know you did. I'll try to find it here. I don't have it up on my screen, sorry. Just one moment through you, Mayor Martin. All right. So this is the bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw, the comprehensive zoning bylaw of the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen, as per an application by Drain Brothers.
Okay. So that Deputy Mayor Drove, you're moving to pass that bylaw? Okay, do I have a seconder for that?
Second the motion through you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, seconded by Councillor Ellis. Any questions? Well, there's no questions. All in favor of the motion? Sorry about that. So, all right, so that's carried. Thank you. All right then, so we'll go back into our agenda here, and our next item on the agenda is delegations.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Question,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah,
I believe there was a request to either through our staff or through our planning department to send the complete information package that we have received, including the site plan for the new area, to those that have objected to this bylaw. So if we need a motion for that, I would
you
make
need,
a motion.
you need a motion for that, Bob, or is that just something you do?
No, through you, Mayor Martin, we will look after that. We will send the information.
Thank you.
Okay,
So just for the record, through you, Mayor Martin, the package that council received in their agenda package is definitely posted on our website in the agenda package, but we will send information as requested.
and some have asked for it in PDF there, Bob, so
Yep.
You can accommodate whatever way they require the information.
Absolutely. Yep.
Thank you. Councillor Webb, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like who we're sending it to? Are we just sending it to the people that are in this meeting, or any like, how is that gonna work? Anybody that requests it, the people that want it, are they gonna have to phone into the office? So,
Through you, Mayor Martin, we can send it to the folks that are present at the meeting today, and any others who requested of us.
thank you, Bob.
Okay. All right then.
I just, through you, Mr. Mayor, I just want to make sure the new site plan that indicated a berm is included in the information for those that are requesting the package.
Okay, Bob?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. The documents that were referred to earlier in the conversation, both from Mr. Furman and through our planning consultant, those are the documents that we would be sending.
Okay. All right then, so we're going to move into delegations. Our first delegation is unable to make it today, so Dr. Halawadi is busy today and won't be able to make it. So I'll go on to the second delegation here, and that's Havelock Minor Hockey. Kenny Earnhardt, are you?
Yeah, I'm on here, Jim.
Okay. All right then, Ken, you're welcome to speak.
All right, well, first of all, thanks for having me here today. Good news is that Havelock Minor Hockey will be up and running this year, pending COVID restrictions. We're just coming to council today. Based off of a previous meeting, we had seen that some COVID funding had been set aside for service clubs in the area. So upon some review of our finances and our upcoming 2021-2022 season, we have some questions and we have some concerns and some requests to make to council today. So I did send in an email about with a spreadsheet for everyone to view. Was everyone able to receive that? Perfect. So I'll just kind of start right into it. You can see that our current account balance for Havelock Minor Hockey is $17,451.90. This is quite low for this time of year. We generally start off our season somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000 of our funding to get things rolling. As you can see, we have our regular expenses that come up every year. We have our ice costs, which go between $3,000 and $4,600 per month, depending on the amount of teams that we're able to ice every year. We have insurance costs for staff and players that range between $15,000 and $3,000, depending on, again, registration numbers. And then every year we have new or upgrading training costs that generally between $750 to $1,000 per season. So you can see right off the bat before we are even, putting the ice in and getting the kids on the ice, we are already in the process of losing money. This year, past couple of years have been tough for our income, aside from our registration, which has been coming in quite well so far this year. With the Jamboree being canceled the previous 2 years, it's probably our biggest fundraiser every year. And we've calculated between $10,000 and $14,000 of lost revenue for the 2 years of being unable to go in. We generally are there selling Nevada tickets, which we acquire a lottery license from the township every year, as well as we sell beer koozies as well for the event. 2 years ago, we tried something new, and we purchased a four-wheeler from Dunford's. It was set up to be raffled off. It started out very, very well for ticket sales. However, effective in March of last year, with everything being shut down, it really put a drain on us being able to get out to events, things like the farmers market, the Jamboree, tournaments that would have been happening. There's a lot of lost opportunities for income. So we actually ended up losing approximately $1,800 on the four-wheeler. And then also with not having any hockey and with tournaments, even if we had hockey last year, they were not running tournaments. And as you can see that we generate about $500 to $1,000 per tournament. And we generally do one at every age group. So, I mean, we're looking at another $8,000 to $10,000 per year that we've lost out on. We currently have, it says 27 there. We actually had 4 more trickle in since I sent that document out. So we are up to 31. So yeah, we are looking for some assistance from the township to, our main goal is we generally have an early bird registration fee. And then usually after our July 31st deadline, we charge a late fee of $100 per registration. So one of the main things we're trying to do this year, mainly because of, a lot of people having to take time off work, go on unemployment, receiving the CERB from the government, people not having that ability to work a lot. Our goal is to try to keep our registration costs low and avoid having to pay any late fees, as well as our equipment costs are increasing this year based off of the additional PPE, as well as some of the additional equipment that OMHA has put out there for us required to purchase due to COVID regulations.
Okay, yeah, it's everybody's up against it right now, and this isn't new to the council. We've heard from a lot of people, so thank you, Ken. And as far as Jamboree, that's affected a lot of people too. It's a big fundraiser for the community, and it's really shown in the last couple of months on how bad it was missed for some of our service clubs. And anyways, I'll open it up to council here if they have any questions or comments. For the most part, Ken, today is the best we can do is receive it for discussion.
Definitely.
But council, do you have any questions for Ken? Councillor Ellis, and then Councillor Webb.
Just a quick one. Your registration, Kenny, is that kind of on cue as to what would be normal? Or are you quite far behind, or how's that going?
It's relatively normal. We always find the beginning, like July into early August, we get, the hardcores are always signed up. Middle to late August is when we generally get a majority. I think a lot of people just aren't thinking hockey, with, everybody being able to be out of the lockdown now. I think a lot of people they're outside, they're enjoying the nice warm weather. So, I mean, we're relatively, I would say we would normally have maybe 5 or 6 more this time of year. But this time I've talked to a lot of parents. I've talked to a lot of kids, and there is still a lot of interest in people. I mean, obviously one of the biggest concerns is what's going to happen with COVID regulations, right? Like a lot of people, they're not into the 3-on-3 hockey, right? They don't want to play unless, there's 5-on-5 hockey. Like they don't have concerns with the protocols as far as mask use, and we have to do contact tracing when they come into the arena, and kids having to come partially dressed already. Like, those are not concerns that are the issue. It's mainly to do with the 3-on-3 and whether we're going to be able to play other teams. Last year there were cohorts, so a lot of it was just one other center you cohorted with, so you were playing a lot of the same team over and over again. So that's been a lot of parents kind of holding back on registering until they get a little bit more information as to how the season's going to roll.
Okay. All right, Councillor Webb, go ahead.
Yeah, Ken, I was just wondering, in terms of if things are moving forward, and it sounds like they are, when would the ice need to be in at the arena, in terms of, if Havelock was gonna, if Tofty was gonna move forward and Havelock was gonna play in leagues?
Yeah.
When would the ice need to be into?
Okay, good question. We do have a Leo meeting coming up in August because there was no Leo done last year. So they are setting up to ramp up to having a normal season. We are right now looking at committing to minimum of 8 hours per week from just our club alone. So, I mean, we would honestly, because of the lost year for minor hockey, I mean, we'd like to see ice, middle to the end of September, if possible, to get the kids, some extra practices, especially the ones that didn't play last year. I mean, there's a lot of safety concerns with kids that didn't play. There's a lot of, we want to make sure mentally and physically they're back into, the mindset of being comfortable on the ice, not worrying about injuries that can be prevented with additional ice time. And I know too, I've spoken to other clubs that would look at, renting ice from us as well, as their ice is going in later. Plus we have the normal 3-on-3 that has been a regular thing for a few years now that would be looking at renting ice as well. And I know there's a lot of clubs out there that are already starting to look for ice.
Thank you, Kenny.
Okay, is there any other questions from council? Seeing none. Well, thank you, Kenny, for what you're doing. Challenging times, to say the least, and I feel for you, but hopefully we can get things swung around here and get things to come back to what they were before. And I'll look for a motion from council to receive your delegation, and we'll have further discussion probably later on during budget time, or maybe before then. So
can I make one more comment, Mayor Martin?
Okay, go ahead.
Just to kind of aid in your decision about whether you're able to provide us any funding is one thing too, with us up and running. I do feel that we are a big part of the community, and we do drive a lot of revenue coming in when we have just our regular games, as well as when we have tournaments and we're able to bring in 5 and 6 teams. It increases our revenue in our local businesses, restaurants, gas stations. It does help support the community big time.
Yeah, thank you, Ken. And yeah, council's aware of that. So that'll be a part of the discussion. So I'll look for a motion to receive the delegation today. Moved by Councillor Webb. Do I have a seconder?
Second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Seconded by Councillor Ellis. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, Ken.
Have a great day, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, our next delegation is Tracy Bertrand, and this is a report that County Council got to see last week. It's Oda Pita na Moan. I knew I would butcher that. So anyway,
No.
Go ahead, Tracy.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Mayor Martin and members of council, for having me here today. I'm going to attempt to share my screen so that this goes well. And with that, I will turn off my video. It's a little easier for me to monitor that. So Bianca is going to be my backup just in case I mess this up, but I'll try my very best. Here we go. So if somebody can just let me know if they can see what I'm presenting here. It should be a blue screen.
Yep, it's there.
Excellent. Okay, so once again, thank you so much for your time today, Council. I truly appreciate it. And as Mayor Martin did mention, There was a presentation at County Council meeting on August 4th, and I would like to thank Mayor Martin and Deputy Mayor Giroux for voting to take the pledge and supporting the pledge at the council meeting of August 4th. The pledge was launched on July 6th, and this morning I'd like to formally introduce you all to the Oda Pita Naman pledge. We've been referencing the work that Peterborough and the Kawarthas Economic Development has been doing on the visitor pledge for a few months now. We presented to the Tourism Management Committee, which is comprised of CAOs and EDOs across Peterborough County, both First Nation communities, Peterborough Public Health, and also the City of Peterborough. They have been a tremendous asset in assisting us with the launch, and I'd like to take this time to thank your CAO, Bob, for your support, which helps to allow us to unify our voices with a strong message of pride of place. The Visitor Pledge is a strategic long-term commitment that, sorry folks, just trying to get my PowerPoint working here, that helps us ensure that the destination is enjoyed for future generations. In 2020, COVID-19 hit the tourism industry very hard. It certainly is one of the most impacted sectors and is likely to be the last to recover. In many parts of Ontario, including Peterborough and the Kawarthas, the season looked a lot different in 2020. We experienced results of over-tourism as droves of domestic visitors came to the destination to escape the cities. Seasonal residents came earlier and stayed longer. And while we strategically were preparing for this trend to happen eventually in the future, we certainly didn't think it would happen as fast as it did. While other destinations experienced a decline in visitation, Peterborough and the Kawarthas and HBM saw an increase in the number of visitors wishing to escape rural destinations. The timing of the launch was aligned with the 2021 tourism season and fit nicely with Ontario's step 2 of the reopening of the province. In late 2019, we began to explore the concept of a visitor pledge, which is essentially as a tool and a resource used by destinations wishing to be sustainable. Research indicated that a visitor pledge has been widely used to also curb effects of over-tourism. Many destinations root their visitor pledge in history and culture with a strong message of sustainability, respect, kindness for the natural assets of place. The land acknowledgement was the starting point for the research for the visitor pledge, as it is embedded in all that we do in Peterborough and the Kawarthas. From there, the direction of the pledge was driven by PKED's Future Ready strategic plan, where the next few years we are to ensure that Peterborough and the Kawarthas is poised to become the most sustainable and innovative community and economy in Ontario, and where we committed to strengthening relationships with Hiawatha and Curve Lake First Nations in order to enrich the fabric of our region. A visitor pledge was also rooted from our 2019 Friendship Accord, and we rooted it in the teachings of the Indigenous as a result of the commitment that was made in the Friendship Accord. At that Friendship Accord, Peterborough County, along with other municipalities within Peterborough County, and PKED, along with Curve Lake First Nation and Hiawatha First Nation, committed to working together with the guiding principles to commit to understanding and respecting each other's values, customs, and beliefs. The meaning of Oda Pita Naman is actually the Ojibwe word for respect, and it means to treat someone with great care. It represents the importance of protecting the land on which Peterborough and the Kawarthas is located and honoring the people that call it home. It reflects a universal evergreen value, respect, by drawing on the teachings of the Michisagik Anishinaabe, and serves to unify everyone for whom the region lives within their hearts. It is pronounced Oda Pita Naman, and it elevates local Indigenous heritage and aligns with recent commitments to collaboratively recognize traditions and the richness of culture. What is a visitor pledge? It's a commitment made by visitors to make good choices and to respect a destination, and it's an educational tool meant to increase awareness of appreciation and tremendous natural, cultural, and historical values of a particular place. Why a visitor pledge? As a region that welcomes more than 3 million visitors every year, Peterborough and the Kawarthas understands that when achieving a successful visitor economy, it's essential that a destination foster a strong pride of place among residents and visitors. After all, if the locals love and respect where they live, they're more likely to spread the word and good feelings to inspire others to visit as well. The effects of COVID-19 have fundamentally changed the visitor economy and drastically shifted consumer behaviors. This has provided the opportunity for destinations to hit the reset button. The Otepetitnamon Pledge provides Peterborough and the Kawarthas the opportunity to create a renewed sense of togetherness, discovery, and identity among its residents and visitors. The Visitor Pledge will serve as a guiding principle to all that hold a special place in their heart for this region. The adoption of the Otepetitnamon Pledge also serves as a bold next step following a history of hard work and investment towards reconciliation and solidarity with the First Nations peoples of Peterborough and the Kawarthas. The pledge will serve to inspire pride in Peterborough and the Kawarthas residents and visitors alike, and honor the traditional teachings of Curve Lake First Nation and Hiawatha First Nation, and pave the way for sustainability and innovation in tourism within the region. The Otepetitnamon Pledge honors both place and people and is an effective way to communicate the importance of being respectful while visiting our region, show kindness to all, and take pride in the region while protecting it and preserving it for future generations. The purpose of the Friendship Accord was to allow each partner to enhance and honor one another's historical, political, and economic, social, and cultural relationships. Dignitaries, community members, and young people were invited to witness the signing as representatives of Hiawatha First Nation, Curve Lake First Nation, Selwyn Township, Otonabee South Monaghan, the County of Peterborough, and Peterborough and the Kawarthas Economic Development formalize their commitment to work together for the well-being of all of their communities. In 2019, the accord was signed and marked a moment in time where an existing interest in forward thinking, cultural collaboration, community building culminated in a public declaration for progression, partnership, understanding, and respect. This is a quote from the Honorable Elizabeth Dowdswell. Inclusive economic prosperity is often a goal to be achieved, a strategy set in place where the best case scenarios mean that no one is left behind. What is so powerful about the Friendship Accord is that inclusive economic prosperity is not a future ideal, but an active practice, one that is done in the spirit of friendship rather than as a winner-take-all approach. We believe in Peterborough and the Kawarthas that the water connects us all. It gives us everything we need to live authentically, make new discoveries, gather nourishment, strength, and inner peace. Water is the original open road where families make memories and our paddles find purpose, moving us ever forward. In return, it's our responsibility to respect the land of shining waters, to care for it like it cares for us, so that we and future generations can continue to make cultural discoveries, forge new friendships, lose ourselves, and find ourselves in the great outdoors for years to come. The Otepetitnamon Pledge is about respect. Respect for the land, respect for each other, and respect for those who will come after us. The Michisageek Anishinaabe of Curve Lake First Nation and Hiawatha First Nation uphold the traditional teaching, Otepetitnamon, to give respect to all creation as a means of living sustainably and in balance with the land, waterways, and each other. So whether you feel at home in Peterborough and the Kawarthas, or you're visiting for a day, a week, or a few semesters, taking the pledge means you are promising to protect and preserve this incredible place, its heritage and culture, as well as the welcoming spirit of its people. It means you understand that what makes Peterborough and the Kawarthas extraordinary, and you are making a commitment to do everything you can to help keep it that way. We invite you to join our community of communities as we make a commitment to be kind and respect all creation. If we've learned anything in 2020, it's the power of unity, the working together for a mutual cause, respect for people, culture, and natural spaces we depend on for our future generations, for each other, has never been more important. We are asking all that hold Peterborough and the Kawarthas in a special place in their heart to pledge to be a steward of this destination. So while you're traveling through Havelock-Belmont-Methuen, we ask you to pledge to be light on the water and wise, light on the land and wise on the water. Explore your surroundings with an open heart, ask for help when you need it, and be kind to strangers. Before starting your day, gear up, get wind of the weather. Remember your meet witches, thank yous, and mercies. With every new season, seek fresh experiences and flavors, trails, and friends. Place safety before sport when pedaling, paddling, parking, or powerboating. Be it bison, baked goods, or crafty brew, buy local where you can. Greet new cultures and traditional teachings with curiosity, kindness, and compassion. And after feeding your soul with authentic adventures, take fond memories with you and leave nothing but footprints behind. So at this point, I'm going to attempt to play the video that we created and show you the landing page. So I'm going to show the landing page first. And I would just need a bit of a signal to make sure that everybody can see this new screen.
Yeah.
Great. So if you go to the kawarthas.ca/pledge, this is the landing page that exists on the tourism website. And this is what it looks like. So I'm going to scroll a little bit here. We'll go to the video, which is the blue square in just a second. You might see it as a gray square. And you'll see here that those that are visiting the site can read a little bit about the pledge. It talks a little bit about how we got to the pledge and what was considered. And then it moves right into the pledge document. So I pledge to be light on the land, wise on the water, and it scrolls right through. So everybody can kind of read that. From there, it talks about the meaning of Oda Pitanaman, and that it's respect for the land, people, and each other. And from there, you can actually, in this green box here, you can type in your name and you can identify whether you're a resident or a visitor. And then you take the pledge by hitting this button. So once you take the pledge online, there is.
So all we're seeing, Tracy, I don't know, we're just seeing the box with the pledge, the blue water.
Oh, is that all you're seeing? Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. So yeah, so the landing page does allow you to actually take the pledge online, and then we have a live tracker that tracks the number of people that are taking the pledge, and we're also able to identify how many residents and visitors have actually taken the pledge, and happy to share that information with you. So at this point, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to move into the video. And bear with me as I attempt to do this properly. And then I have to share my screen again.
Glad you can do all that because I couldn't do any of that. So.
It's definitely not easy, that is for sure. So the trick here would be to identify whether or not you're going to be able to hear it. Are you able to see my screen, which should show a YouTube page?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to attempt to see that you can hear this. Here we go, folks. Are you able to hear it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the video that we created that is on the landing page. So I'm just gonna stop sharing my screen for a second and go back to the other screen.
Hello, welcome to the Aurora in the Courses
Oh, sorry,
Tourism's
folks.
Digital Destination Training Session.
We're getting everything.
Yes, that's the next presentation to council. One moment here as I move to my screen. Okay, so hopefully you can see that we're back onto the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So thank you so much. That video is available and all of the resources are available to your CAO and to all of our businesses and to all of our municipalities so that they're able to use the resources that we've created to in any way that they would like to use that. For sure, there's been a lot of creative ways that things have been taking place. The main call to action for this is twofold. So obviously to take the pledge, promising to protect and preserve this incredible place, its heritage and culture, as well as the welcoming spirit of its people, to share the pledge with others in the interest of driving up the numbers and spreading awareness. Happy to report that our goal originally was to achieve 500 pledges by the end of the year. And we achieved 500 pledges within the first week of launching on July 6th. So we do have a new goal now of achieving 1,000 pledges by the end of the year. And at last check, we were well over 800 pledges. So I'd like to take this opportunity now to thank you for your time today and the opportunity to be able to present this to you.
Thank you, Tracy. We can get back to that screen. Yeah, I know you've put a lot of work into this, and we did see this last week at County Council, and I think it's timely with what we've been through over the last year and a half. It's nice to see something that inspires pride and and friendliness and all of those things for everyone. So I thank you for that. At County Council, we did take the pledge and supported this, and I don't know what council's thoughts are, but if Havelock-Belmont-Methuen wanted to support this and take the pledge, that would be nice to be added to the list. Does anybody want to do that, or we can do it individually? But I do think it'd be nice if we could put this on our website, Bob, and share it around on social media. So Deputy Mayor Giroux, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, first of all, Tracy, thank you. We're very proud that you're in our community, and we're very proud of the work you're doing at KEDC. Glad to have you here today. And I would make a motion, Mr. Mayor, that we Havelock-Belmont-Methuen Council take the pledge today.
All right, thank you. Moved by Deputy Mayor Giroux that we take the pledge. Do I have a seconder to that?
I would gladly second that motion, and thank you.
Okay. Seconded by Councillor Ellis. All in favor of that motion? And that's carried. Thank you. Thank you, Tracy. Is there any other questions for Tracy with regards to this, Council? Not seeing any. Thank you for the timely, you kept that down pretty good. So we do have a busy day today. So thank you, Tracy.
Thank you, Mayor Martin, and apologies for the wrong slide that showed up. Bianca had the right presentation and I pulled up the wrong one. So I do apologize
No
for
problem.
that. Thank
No
you,
problem.
everyone.
Thank you. So a motion to receive the delegation, moved by Councillor Webb, seconder to that,
Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Ellis. All in favor? And that's carried. So I'm going to ask council here if they want to take a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back and finish the rest of the agenda. How does that work for you? Okay. If we could do a 5-minute break recess, and we'll come back at 7 minutes after 11. Does that work? Moved by Councillor Webb, seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux. All in favor? And that's carried. So, okay. All right, so I'll look for a motion to resume the meeting from the recess.
So move, Mr. Mayor.
Moved by Councillor Ellis, seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, so next we have some staff reports for information. If there's anything that you wish to talk about, do it now. If not, we'll take a motion to receive those reports. Moved by Councillor Webb that we receive the reports for information. Do I have a seconder?
Second with a question, Mr. Mayor.
Okay,
In the fire chief's report, he indicates new recruits, and I'm just wondering how many vacancies we do have.
okay. Chief Haynes, are you there?
Yep, I'm here, Jim. Sorry.
Okay.
To answer Larry's questions, it's about 7 or 8.
We're short 7 or 8? Yeah, okay, just curious. There's a cost associated, so I was curious how many.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the reports? So I have a mover and a seconder for the reports. All in favor of the report? And that's carried. Okay, next we'll move into reports with follow-up action. And the first one we have here is Devil's 4 Mile Otter Creek Bridge. Peter, welcome.
Yes, good morning, Mayor Martin and members of council. This first report is the purpose is to seek council's approval for a structural evaluation to be completed on the Otter Creek Bridge or the Devil's 4 Mile.
Okay, it's pretty straightforward. Larry, go ahead.
Just a quick question for Peter. I noticed on the report that was done about 2 years ago. Is that correct, Peter? Or so is it required?
Yep, well, through you, Mayor Martin. So the Olson report is as mandated legislative for every 2 years to be completed. So it was done 2 years ago, and then we just redid it here this summer. So yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a recommendation there that staff proceed with this. Do I have a mover?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, moved by, actually Deputy Mayor Drill was up first there and seconded by Councillor Ellis. Any questions or comments to the motion? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, next we have drainage on King Street.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, to the members of council. The purpose of this report is to provide council with options and to seek direction from council with regards to the drainage issues on King Street.
Okay, so there's a couple of options there, and I think last year it worked out pretty well. I open it up to council. What's your thoughts? Deputy Mayor Terrell?
Well, that was my question through you, Mr. Mayor, to Peter. My understanding is that did work last year. Option 2 would do the job because of last year's situation. It did work. Is that correct?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, to Deputy Mayor Giroux, that is correct.
Thank you.
Councillor Pomeroy, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we go with option 2. It worked last year. It's much cheaper. And big thing is it worked. We're going to get into something else if we raise the curb. So I'll make a motion. We take option 2.
All right. Do we have a mover there, or do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Webb? Okay, any questions or comments to the motion? Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, I don't have my my other computer on here now. So that was option 2 for to use the salt, was it? Okay.
It was actually spend $100,000. It was actually spend $100,000 on a repair. So, okay. Yeah, so we have a mover and a seconder. Any other questions with regards to the motion? All in favor? And that's carried. The next is with regards to the ultra thin asphalt tender that went out. I think
Yes, through you. Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Yes, the tender was out and we received, and we were just looking for council's approval to award the high performance asphalt to the Drain Brothers Contracting. Yes.
Okay, and is he the only one that provides that, Peter, just for clarification?
He is the only one that we received a bid from. I do believe that Coco Paving out of Belleville, as I understand, though, they have most of the highways, so I understand that they're fairly busy at this time, so.
All right then. Barry, go ahead.
I'll make a, excuse me, I'll make a motion. We approve Peter's recommendation.
All right, do I have a seconder? Councillor Ellis? Any questions to the motion? All in favor? And that's carried. And next we have pickup truck vehicle replacement. There's 2 vehicles there that are scheduled to be replaced this year. Peter?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Yeah, the purpose is to seek permission for the Public Works to replace 2 of their 3/4 ton pickup trucks. The policy states that they were due to be replaced at 5 years. They were 2015 year. We've exceeded the years, and as well as we've had some breakdowns with those 2 vehicles, and it's been quite lengthy on getting parts and basically to repair the vehicles. We've been out a month just regarding a fuel pump on order. So it's coming into the winter maintenance season. Talking with our treasurer Wendelin that we thought we were going to bring it forward at budget, but due to the state and how long it takes to actually order and receive the new vehicles, we wanted to bring it to council's attention sooner. So.
All right, and you've raised a good point there, Peter. Are we going to be able to get the trucks? That's the other thing. I know I was looking and there's nothing, so.
Yes, exactly. Through you, Mayor Martin, that is the trouble, and the sooner we can get the go ahead to hopefully order them, the sooner we can get them. But I understand it could be 6 months or longer. So it's yeah, there's not too many vehicles on the lot that we can go and find. That's for sure.
Okay. Okay, so there's a couple of people here, Deputy Mayor Giroux and then Councillor Pomeroy.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Peter, this will go out as in a usual tender. There isn't anything different about this tender. It'll go out for 2 trucks. If the motion is passed, carried and so on. We're not looking for a specific product or model, make, model. We're just going to go out for, okay, thank you.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Yes, it'd just be a 3/4 ton. We regular cab 8-foot box to accommodate our Sanders that we originally have purchased in the past. So yeah, just there's no specifics involved, just a straight tender for 3/4 ton regular cab trucks, 4-wheel drive. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Peter.
Barry, go ahead.
Yeah, is there any tracking system done on these trucks, Peter, you know, for repairs? You know, it's great to replace them, but you know, what's the cost for repairs? I know we were down because of a fuel pump, but that would be the same with anything else. If you're down, nobody can get parts. You know, it takes longer. And do we have to replace both trucks? You know, is there one costing us more than the other? I know we talked about this a year ago, and I thought we had it figured out that we're going to try to get these trucks, you know, a year apart rather than have the 2 of them, excuse me, burden us the first in at one time, eh? So.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. I might ask Wendelin, our treasurer. I know she did have some numbers. I don't know if she still has them in front of her or not, but I don't want to say without having the exact facts, but they both are costing, as I remember, close to the same amount per year, and it's fairly substantial.
Okay, Wendla?
Sorry, I don't have those numbers in front of me, and I can't get them while I'm in the Zoom meeting. I can get them to council after the meeting because I do have them from prior years, but there has been some significant repairs done. I believe there has been transmission issues as well. So we just want to make sure that we're meeting our minimum maintenance standards under the province regulations, and it will take quite some time to order these vehicles.
Yeah. Okay, Councillor Ellis?
I just have a quick question for Wendland. At the end of your report, the financial impact indicates $100,000. I don't understand that.
So 2 vehicles at $50,000 approximately each. And then any residual amounts from selling the 2 vehicles after they're replaced would go back in against that 100,000 in the reserve.
I guess, okay, I guess I realize the cost is there for 2 vehicles, but just from my general knowledge of what a standard 4-wheel drive truck would be, I didn't think it was near $50,000. Anyway, it'll be what it'll be, but I'm ready to make a motion that we approve the recommendation. These 2 vehicles are already 2 years past their lifespan through the equipment replacement. So I'm ready to make a motion to approve the recommendation for the replace vehicles.
Okay, so we have a mover there. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Anybody? Councillor Webb is seconding the motion. Okay, is there any other questions to speak to the motion? All in favor of the motion? Oh, Dave, all in favor. Did you have a question, Dave? Okay, you're quicker than me. Okay, all right, so that's carried, Bob. And I think in the future, we are, like Barry said, we're going to be looking at this equipment and the trucks, so that'll come into play as far as spreading them out maybe on the next round. But okay, the next thing on the agenda is the emergency COVID funding grant applications. Bob, or
Yes.
or Art?
Yeah, through you, Mayor Martin, the Economic Development Committee has reviewed 7 applications to receive emergency COVID funding. These are now being recommended to council for approval.
Okay, and the only question I had was, I thought hockey was on this, but did they apply the last time, Art, or?
No, they haven't applied yet, Jim, and I'm just in the process of contacting some of those clubs, hockey, soccer, the ones that haven't. So we discussed it briefly at the economic development meeting in terms of reaching out to them. So.
All right then. So yeah, so there's this is a good program, and it's not a lot of money, but it's helping a few people. So so what's council looking for a motion here? Does somebody want to move the recommendation? Moved by Councillor Pomeroy. Seconder?
Second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Ellis. Any questions or comments to the motion? All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Next, we have the space sharing agreement with Hucklebug.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. So this is presenting the space sharing agreement between Hucklebug and the library, as was previously discussed in closed session in the July meeting, now being brought forward in open session for approval by council.
Okay. What's council's thoughts here? Deputy Mayor Giroux?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, a question for our CAO. I received a draft, I believe it was last night, Bob, via an email of the premises, and it showed who was going where in the drawings. Who developed that drawing? Did we do that, or did Hucklebug, library? Was it a joint effort?
Through you, Mayor Martin, we did not develop those drawings. Those drawings, as per the report attached to the staff report, as per the agreement attached to the staff report, they were to be attached to that agreement. However, when we received the agreement, they were not attached, so we requested those diagrams, and they were provided yesterday. I believe those were created by the library.
Okay, thank you.
Barry, go ahead.
Yeah, I stand to be corrected, but I think it was done by Hucklebug and originally.
Okay.
They're stepping stone, whatever, yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right then. So the recommendation here is that authorized to sign the agreement. Both parties are authorized to sign the agreement. Councillor Webb, you're moving that? Okay, is there a seconder? Councillor Pomeroy? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, Bob, the next is the walk-in COVID vaccination clinic.
Oh, yes, through you, Mayor Martin. We're very pleased to report to council that after reaching out to Peterborough Public Health, staff can report that a COVID walk-in vaccination clinic will be held in Havelock a week from this coming Wednesday. So that will be August the 18th between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. The advertising poster is attached to the staff report. So we would certainly suggest that everyone involved in this meeting and everyone listening in or watching in later help promote this. There is some information from Peterborough Public Health to indicate that our township is lagging a little bit in vaccinations. You can see in the report, there is a chart there that indicates that vaccination rates are higher in the city of Peterborough versus the county. So this is our opportunity to spread the word and get those who are unvaccinated vaccinated.
And I think it's all on the advertising, Bob, because I know, like I told you yesterday, April 11th, when I wrote the letter to them and they said they were going to try and do what they could do. And never seen anything other than at the pharmacies. So anyways, this is a good thing. And Councillor Pomeroy, you had a question?
Is this a drive-through clinic, Bob, or?
No, through you, Mayor Martin, this clinic will mirror the clinic that was held at the Evinrude Center. So it'll be a walk-in into the community center.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right, this is good. So I'll look for a motion that we receive this information and we post it on social media as soon as possible. There's not much time between now and then. So I'll get it out there.
Motion to receive, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Bob.
Sorry, through you, Mayor Martin, I just also wanted to share that further to a meeting with members of Peterborough Public Health, staff of Peterborough Public Health will be assisting in promoting this event. So they will be in the community and distributing some posters, but staff will promote through any avenue we have.
Perfect. Thank you. So that's moved by Councillor Ellis. And do I have a seconder? Councillor Pomeroy. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, Bob. Next, we have Burnt Dam Bridge. And this is something that came up at the county, and Dave and I have been dealing with it for a little while now. And it's continuing to move forward. So this has been ongoing for several years, even in the last term. There's a couple of these bridges in the county that the county doesn't need anymore. And so it's came back to us. And my suggestion there was that we approach Pro Valley and M&R and the Havelock Snowmobile Club, and I would think the ATV Club to and whoever else anybody can think of to help support us in this with the county, that it's important to our community. So I don't know, Dave, do you have anything to add before I open up the council?
Thank you, Mayor Martin. No, I think you've covered it all. It's certainly an important bridge to our community and communities beyond because it's well used. Unfortunately, the county is not much use to them. So as you say, we're gonna have to look after our own here and get hopefully other people involved to save this bridge.
Yeah. Okay. Councilor Pomeroy, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. To Deputy Mayor Giroux, the ATV club seemed to be able to muster up a lot of money from the government for putting in bridges elsewhere, and I just kind of wondered if they could maybe play share of the wealth here.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Pomeroy. Yes, I can talk, we can talk as a council to the local ATV club and And certainly EOTA can be involved. However, there's gates on the property back there that do not allow ATVs, only snowmobiles. So it's not really an ATV trail. So there'd have to be a lot of homework done before it would be of use to the ATVers. But
So
it's certainly an avenue that I will look into.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we'll have to bring all the players into it. And like Dave said, they probably won't be a big player, but I know the Snowmobile Club is really concerned, and they were part of the communication with the county. We received their delegation around this also. So it's something that's ongoing. We're just want to make sure that we get as much help as we can for support for this. It's one of those things that is important to Havelock-Belmont-Methuen, probably a lot more important to us than it is to the county. But we'll do our best here to make sure it stays where it is, and hopefully we can get it upgraded to a standard that that it should be in. Right now, it is in a little rough shape. They can register weight loads and stuff like that, but I think moving forward, I think the next step is that we contact the groups and try and get a plan together here to approach the county to move forward with this. So today it's I guess just to receive this report, and whatever you can think of to help us with this, it would be appreciated. So will that work, Bob?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, just to confirm. So the recommendation is that staff be authorized to reach out to the interested groups, bring everyone together, and then we can present a plan.
All right. Do I have a mover for that? Moved by Councillor Pomeroy, seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. The next is the deposit return program, Bob.
There we go. Let's try that again. Through you, Mayor Martin. So this report presents the deposit return agreement with the Lions Club. It's an agreement that takes us through to the end of 2022. And if council is okay to approve that, we shall move forward with the Lions Club.
Okay. And what's council's thoughts there? A lot of discussion around this. Councillor Webb, you're moving that? Okay, and do you have a seconder?
Second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Seconded by Councillor Ellis. Questions? Comments? All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Next, we have the emergency management exercise, as if we haven't done enough over the last 2 years.
Yes, that is correct. Through you, Mayor Martin, we're all feeling the same. Every year, the province of Ontario requires that an emergency management exercise be conducted. All the townships in Peterborough County have been discussing this matter, and we're all reaching out to the province to suggest that that requirement be waived for 2021, given the fact that we have all had emergency measures in place, and some remain in place due to the COVID pandemic. So we just feel it's unnecessary at this time.
And that's what I just wonder. I know our emergency didn't go into 2021, but we did do it for whatever it was, 6 months last year. So
yeah.
I think we had some good practice. So hopefully they'll go for that, and we can put that aside for this year. So the recommendation is before you. What's your thoughts? Somebody move the recommendation, moved by Councillor Deputy Mayor Giroux. And seconder. Seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. Any questions or comments? All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, the next is the application for concession 72 Concession Street.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. This is simply a housekeeping matter. The site plan approval was considered by council and approved at the previous council meeting in July. through inadvertence, there were a couple of spelling errors in the agreement. There was an address correction to be made in the agreement, and one of the site plan documents was corrected. So that's all been corrected for the record, and it's presented to correct the public record.
We don't have to pass the bylaw again, just
No.
just do the recommendation here. Okay. So looking at council, moved by Councillor Pomeroy. Seconder, Councillor Webb. All in favor? And that's carried. Next is the grant funding resolution.
All right, here we go. Through you, Mayor Martin, there are 2 grant opportunities in play. So as you know, council and staff, we're always on the lookout for grant opportunities. We have recently applied for a grant to support the design and installation of a splash pad. So we require a resolution to confirm that application. Typically what happens in these applications is they will often request a resolution from council that permits the application to go forward. So there's 2 separate resolutions required from this report. First one being for the splash pad.
Okay. Councillor Webb, you're moving the first one?
Yeah, I'll move the first one.
Okay, do I have a seconder? Seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux. Any questions with regards to the motion? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, and the next part is the ICIP drinking water project.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. So the second grant opportunity has not yet been applied for. And later today, council will have a discussion regarding the specifics of that project. But today we need a resolution in open session to apply. And this is a grant for water services in the township.
Okay, Councillor Ellis, go ahead.
I would move that recommendation. I stop with a question.
Okay, so I'll get the seconder to that first, and then we'll speak to the motion. Does somebody want to second it? Councillor Pomeroy seconding that. Go ahead with question.
Yeah, so this grant, if successful, could that grant money be used for dealing with well 3, for an example?
Through you, Mayor Martin, we are investigating the details of the grant, but my initial answer to that is yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, the grant is specific to water. So there's a number of things that it could be used for. So, okay, so we have a mover and a seconder. Is there any other questions to that motion? All in favor of the motion? And that's carried. So next we're going to move into correspondence. We have some action items here. The one is regards to a sign at the Cashbog boat launch. And there's been a lot of discussion, I think, between Ryan and Bob and staff anyways. And I know some of the things that first they were looking at parking signs, and I had said to them that they're not worth putting up because we can't enforce them as well as this here is directing them to the library. They do have a problem back there. So Bob, do you have anything to add, or Ryan?
No, through you, Mayor Martin, I don't have anything further to add. I think the email explains the situation, and there are some proposed signage there. There were some photographs which we did email to council. We received over the weekend, simply indicating the parking issues that are there.
Okay, so what council's thoughts? There is a cost involved here. Any comments, or what do you think here? Deputy Mayor Giroux?
Maybe I'm missing something here. So through you, Mr. Mayor, if we go over this one more time, their proposal is to have the parking up, the overflow parking at the library. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. It's overflow parking, whether it's somebody from Montreal or somebody from Gosh Lake. It's the signs, I guess, that are to come into play. Who's going to buy them and who's going to put them up? I guess it's a little bit like the situation we have over at the quarry here, where cars are parking on the side of the road. Is there any cost through you, Mary Martin, Bob? Was there any costing give to these signs, and who's going to put them up? I missed something in my email here, or my package here, I guess.
No, through you, Mayor Martin, there's no costing indicated in your council package. As per the email received, the group approaching us has requested that they be reimbursed for the signs. We don't know that dollar amount just yet.
The one I'm reading says $145. What is?
Yep.
$145 including tax.
Well, as I said, I misread that through you, Mr. Mayor, somewhere enough, another. I just misread it, I guess, or didn't read it. I just didn't want to spend $1,000 on two signs or $1,000 a piece. That's all. That's my comment for the time being. Thank you.
I wonder if Peter knows the cost, like, how does that price sound? I don't know whether it's through, we get our signs through Peter, or is that them getting them somewhere? That's the part I didn't see, is where they're coming from. Is that, you know, as some of the other signs you've had made, like we could say up to that, but they could work through you and make sure that it's a sign that's going to go with the township.
Through you, Mayor Martin. Yes, it would be nice if the public works staff was the ones that did the installation of the signs, just for, you know, appropriate locations for snow plowing or road maintenance on that end of it. The price seems about adequate for what we've used in the past. This is not through our supplier, so I could definitely receive a price and come back to council, or whatever council chooses to decide.
So it might be better to say, make a motion for up to $300 and let our public works look after the purchasing and installation. If it is something that's needed. There is a problem back there at the beach. You can hardly get vehicles through there at sometimes with the parking on both sides. Parking signs aren't working anywhere, so this is just a thing to try and direct people up to the library, or up to, because it probably should say the 911 number for the library. I'm not sure what the sign said on it. I didn't look, I can't remember, but anyways, so maybe the motion should be that we if you think it would be right, is up to $300, and let Public Works look after this, work with the group, and they could install them also. Bob, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, just to confirm that the one sign does indicate the address for the overflow parking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So it would be simpler to let our Public Works look after it and make sure they're put in the right place. But Councillor Pomeroy, go ahead.
Yeah, I haven't got my material here, but I think I read where it was a friend of whoever's in charge of this that is making up the signs. And it was supposed to be a good deal. But anyway, if we don't make any commitment right now, I'll get Peter to compare the price and get back to us.
Yeah.
Then we can move from there.
Okay, just a way to get it moving is if we authorize up to $300, at least if he does get it, he can order it and get it going. Otherwise, we can say it's for next year. But that's just my thoughts there. So what do you think, Councillor Pomeroy?
The way I read it, I thought he had already ordered the signs and he expected us to reimburse. That's the way I read it anyway.
Okay.
And of course, I'd have to add to that Peter and his crew should put them up and do it properly, like he said, for snow plowing and so on and so forth.
Okay. All right, so do you want to make that motion then, Barry? Do you want to say it again there?
Larry's got his hand up there. He's got a question too.
Go ahead, Larry.
Well, Hart's had his up before me, but go ahead, Hart, and then I have a question or a suggestion.
Yeah, I don't really have a problem with the signs. My whole question was, we're dealing with this one way over on Mile of Memories, and it seems here we're going at a completely different way. I don't know if there's a parking problem there with people parking on the side of the road, why there are no parking signs there.
Because they weren't really worth, it's kind of like on North School Road, what we found until later in the year, they're not really worth the sign that they're printed on to say no parking, because we don't have any way of enforcing it. So
no, but I thought as a municipality, hopefully by next summer, we're gonna have that ticketing process in order. So I mean, if we get the signs up this fall, by next spring, we should be able to hand out tickets. So I don't understand. To me, we're going out of our way we're just creating another parking problem. To me, the library would be full within a couple of weeks once they know that's there, right? And you're gonna have more people parking on the side of the road, and we haven't really solved any problem.
Yeah.
So I'm not against the boat launch signs. If they want to use that for overflow parking, that's fine, if that's what the residents there have decided. But I still think as a municipality, if there's a problem along there and it's creating a safety problem, people parking on the side of the roads, that we need to have no parking signs there, just as we do on Mile of Memories.
Okay.
And we'll worry about who's going to enforce it.
So that would be another option. We can just receive this letter from the group, and we can look at another thing and put no parking signs there if you like.
Well, I'm just wondering why we would do it one way on Mile of Memories and do it a different way on another road. I like to be consistent.
It's just they have a parking lot there. We don't have one on Mile of Memory, so they were going to use the parking lot for the overflow. But go ahead, Councillor Ellis.
Yeah, just, excuse me, through you, Mr. Mayor, just to add to Councillor Hart's comments, I would also suggest that we get in touch with, I believe it was Terry Reese in the email, to let them know not to go ahead and purchase or make signs, and allow Peter direction to go ahead and purchase the signs, get them up like Councillor Webb says. My other thought was, I'm trying to remember for signage where parking is, as in the library. So if there's a good sign indicating parking at the library, for an example, that's going to take some of it off the road. But
that's what they're right.
I think we should get in touch with Terry and tell him, don't be making signs and sticking them up. Peter has the right idea. Got to put them up where they should be. It's not a very costly thing to put up a few signs. So
maybe that would be the better motion, that we make a motion that we tell them that we're going to pass this over to Public Works, and we'll deal with it at Public Works, and stay with the way we've been doing things, and just receive this email. But we should tell them, don't make the signs. Public Works will look into this, and we'll try and come up with a solution, because to a lot of us this is new. A lot of people don't go back there to see the problem. The pictures are worth 1,000 words, though. There is a problem with cars getting through there on the weekends. They're parking on both sides of the road. They're parking for the beach on the one side, and they're parking for the boat launch on the other side, and vehicles can't get through. So I think, Peter, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Just one question on the Public Works looking into the signs. The yellow sign is a warning sign, and the white sign is a regulatory sign. I just wanted direction which ones that we were going to be looking into for the regulatory sign for a bylaw to enforce.
And that'll be up to you. I think it'd be best to get a report back from you. I think it's better to just receive this email, and you can explain that stuff, and that's a good reason why we need to have you involved in this, so it's done right. So I think it's just best to receive this email, tell them not to make the signs, that it's Public Works will be working with them to explain how it works, and over this next few months you can you can get something done, and like Councillor Webb said, it'll be a generic way of dealing with it throughout the township. So, Councillor Ellis?
Sorry for prolonging this, but through you, Mr. Mayor, to Peter, what signs should be there, white or yellow?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. If it's just if it's going to be in bylaw and going to be enforced, it needs to be the white regulatory signs.
Then
If
why
it's just,
don't
if it's just explanation that there's overflow parking, and then we can't enforce it in any way. It's just a notification.
So if we give Peter direction through a motion to proceed with the white signs, including a good sign that indicates where the parking is, then it can get carried on and dealt with, rather than a report back and the summer will be over before we get signs up.
Yeah, so there is two issues here, and that's the one that'll show the parking, and the no parking part of it is another thing that we're going to work towards in the fall. So yes, that's
So through you, Mr. Mayor, I would make that motion and include correspondence to Terry Reese indicating that not for him to go making signs and whatever, that the township are going to look after it.
yeah, and this email was from the secretary of the Castleback Lake Association, so that's who it should probably go back to.
Whoever. Thank you. I'll make that motion.
Okay, moved by Councillor Ellis, seconded by Councillor Webb. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay. Is that okay, Bob?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. So just to clarify for our Public Works Manager, so that we're all on the same page here. So the motion is that Public Works will investigate both the white and yellow signs for installation at this location. White being the no parking signs, and the yellow being alternate parking at a location.
It's just, I think it was just to authorize Peter to deal with the signs in particular, the overflow parking sign, whatever color it has to be. He knows that, so yeah.
Okay, so the overflow parking sign is the yellow sign. It's just a direction. It's an informational sign.
Okay. So
All right,
Peter, yeah. So it's just to authorize Peter to look after whatever color it has to be. He knows the colors, and council's just authorizing him to look after the sign and whatever color it is, yellow, white.
Without confusing things, I think Peter has the direction he needs and knows what needs to go. Thank you.
Are you okay with that, Peter?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Yes, as I understand, we need a sign to direct overflow parking, and we need a regulatory signs posted for no parking on the road.
Perfect.
Through you, Mayor Martin, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, it's Stacy Dello from the Lake Koshabog Residents Association.
Okay.
Sorry, I just wanted to chime in that I did receive that, and I can report back to the committee as well.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I was wondering who that number was. So, okay, so so everybody's good with that. So we have a mover and a seconder, and all in favor, and that's carried.
What color is that?
Councillor Pomeroy, did you have something?
Yeah, what color is that gonna be? All in favor? We had an awful debate for two colors.
Yeah. So, okay, so our next is the road association maps and unopened road allowances for Fire Road 54. Okay. Sorry, a lot to read there on that on the next correspondence there, but this is with regards to an unopened road allowance and maintaining it, Bob.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. So correspondence as per the agenda package. The request is that they maintain a portion of the fire road which crosses the road allowance. And request is to allow for the maintenance of that portion of the road.
And if they do that for so long, it doesn't run into anything where all of a sudden it's theirs, does it? Or
No, it does not. Through you, Mayor Martin. No.
okay. All right, so what's council's thoughts? I don't know how it works for insurance and all that stuff there, Bob.
No, through you, Mayor Martin, we will certainly confirm all of that. But if it's council's inclination to allow it, we will make sure there's no hurdles in that regard.
And I'm sure this happens all over the place. So Deputy Mayor Giroux, go ahead.
Just for an through you, Mr. Mayor, for an explanation, Bob, for me. Road allowances, we just refused one down on the first line. We didn't want anybody to do any work on it because there was too much involved in it. We've had, on the end of the 10th concession of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen, a party did a great deal of work on that road allowance, knowing very well that they were doing the work at their cost, but when they did it, anyone could use it. So I don't want a perception that if somebody's going to be working on a road allowance, an unopened road allowance, that it's only for them. Can you help me explain that better, Bob?
No, you're absolutely correct, Deputy Mayor Giroux, through you, Mayor Martin, that no, it would be a very clear understanding that this is not a private road only for their use. This is for everyone's use. If they choose to maintain it, that's their choice.
Thank you.
Okay. So what's council's thoughts there? Do you want to make a motion that we approve the ask?
Motion to approve the app through you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, moved by Councillor Ellis. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Webb. Any more questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Next is the demolition derby in Marmor. This is something I think we've done with their fair before, but I just wonder with the way things are. Councillor Webb, go ahead.
Motion to receive.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Webb that we receive this. It's seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux. Any questions or comments? All in favor? And that's carried. Next is some information around, I think it's a water tower over in Norwood. This must be something that they have to circulate the surrounding area, Bob.
Yep, through you, Mayor Martin, that is correct.
So I don't think there's any concerns for us. Oh, my screen just did a little jump there. So anyways, Deputy Mayor Giroux.
Motion to receive.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Giroux that we receive it. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Pomeroy. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, next is just information items and correspondence. I don't know whether there's anything that jumped out at anyone. If there's nothing there, I'll look for a motion to receive the balance of the correspondence. Councillor Ellis? Oh, you're muted.
Just a quick question. I don't want to prolong this, but I've been asked this a few times, so I'm going to ask it today. When we add a new cell to our wastewater treatment plant, how many homes will that accommodate?
It depends on how big the cell is.
Does anybody have an answer to that? Bob? Peter?
Through you, Mayor Martin, I don't have an exact number of residential houses, but what I do know for a fact is 2 cells that we have currently in use is up to 1,200 cubic meters a day. So it will add another 600 cubic meters a day. Our water flows right now are consistent between, we're just around the 500 cubic meters a day or just a little bit under, between 450 and 500.
Thank you, Peter. The only reason I question or ask is again, because I've been asked, and we listen to other municipalities who are expanding at large numbers. And I know when we put the last cell in, we thought we were in good shape, but here we are putting another cell in. So I guess my concern is, or the questions that I'm asked is, You're gonna add another cell, how much expansion is that gonna give you? Or are you gonna be in the same boat in a short period of time? That's the reason I'm asking.
Yeah.
You, Mayor Martin, that's a really good question, and we will follow up and we'll get a specific answer to that.
Yeah, but some of the questions that are being driven is from our neighbors to the west. Lots of expansion there, and there's rumors with the recent land development, there's going to be even more. And what people can't understand in the municipality is how can they expand so much, and we're kind of restricted here and adding a cell for a few homes maybe. So that's what drives the questions.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that stuff they've dealt with already. They just put a new well in last year.
Yeah,
We had some,
I know about the well. I'm talking about wastewater.
yeah, and I think they did it too. So from what I understand, I know the questions you're talking about those. So yeah, we'll so if we can get that answer, Bob, that would be good moving forward. So
thank you, Bob.
So I'll look for a motion to receive the balance of the correspondence.
Motion to receive.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Duro and seconded by Councillor Ellis. All in favor? And that's carried. Next, we're going to move into committee liaison reports, and we'll start off with the county update there. Dave, if you have anything from the last county meeting that would help Havelock-Belmont-Methuen understand what we're up to.
Well, through you, Mr. Mayor, I don't have a great deal. We talked to Tracy, gave her a report this morning. We are ongoing with our works departments having their meetings to coincide with each other to be more efficient in all the townships with the county. I'm sure you know more about that than I do. You are on that committee. I don't have anything to report, but I'm a little happily confused about how much paving went on the County Road 46, because all the reports that I'd received, I either read wrong or they've improved the road a lot farther than originally was expected. So other than that, I'm sure you have some other stuff, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, and there wasn't too much. It was our first meeting. We took July off, but there was a lot in there. They just updated their website at the county, and it is really nice and easy to maneuver around. They use the same group as we use, but they did an update, and it's really well done. Yeah, Tracy did her report. The other thing was we did an OP amendment for what you're talking about there, Larry, for Norwood. They just have another expansion, and it could double the size of Norwood. So that's in a field on the east end of the township behind the arena from the 10th line. So anyways, things are really moving over there. And they did mention about the well that they put in, so they've got water and sewer to accommodate. And yep, they're moving ahead. So other than that, yeah, there's that's about it, I think, that we can speak to. There wasn't a whole lot of stuff, like Dave said, around the paving. We were told it was going from Trent River Road to Round Lake Road. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to ask if maybe they're leaving, that maybe that's what happened, but we'll find out. What we've been reporting that a little bit different, but whatever, it's good. The highway's looking beautiful back there, and hopefully we can continue that moving north. So other than that, that's all I have for the county. I'm going to move into Councillor Webb. You had some economic development meetings and minutes. Do you have anything to add?
Well, just quickly, the minutes are there for everybody to read. Went over, I think, well, we went through them in today's business, 7 applications for the COVID funding. The committee is continuing to review the community improvement plan. Hopefully might have something to that, something about that back to council, hopefully by September or October, in terms of maybe making a couple of changes to the CIP. And still in discussions about the new township logo designs. And like I said, hopefully, probably sometime in September, I'll bring a report back in terms of the logo designs to council. So if there's any other questions from any of the council members, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, if there's no questions, I'll take a motion to receive those minutes from June 22nd.
Motion to receive, Mr. Mayor.
Moved by Councillor Ellis. Seconder. Deputy Mayor Giroux. Any questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Next, we have library board minutes from May 13th, Barry.
Yeah, oh, COVID was on, eh?
Yeah,
I think there's 2 sets of minutes there.
okay. So I'll look for a motion to receive those minutes unless you have anything to add to them, Barry.
No.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Webb, seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. All in favor? And that's carried. And conference calls have been down a little bit over the last couple of weeks. Most of my meetings seem to be with the county, like Dave said, around the org review that they're doing, and a lot of stuff going on. And I think we're 2/3 of the way through the public works part of things, and it's hopefully there's some good things come out of that. I did have some, I think it's going to be really good, but the police service board meeting on July 26th, and I have minutes there from April 26th. So right now I'll look for a motion to receive those minutes from April 26th. Moved by Councillor Webb and seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux. Our meeting on the 26th, there wasn't a lot came out of there. I don't have my notes here with me, but it was there wasn't too much came out of there. There was some discussion around the quarry and some other things. So, but other than that, the minutes will come out at the next meeting, and we can talk about it there if that's all right. So, is there anything else under activity reports? Councillor Ellis, go ahead.
Just a quick question to you, Mr. Mayor. Police Services Board meetings. Has there been any discussion lately regarding the ATV issues back at the Matheson property? It's, you know, it's not hard to understand the complaints when you're in town at a certain time of the day or evening. There's a certain number of individuals, the one with the very large engine and an exhaust, noisy exhaust. And so it's hard to understand or explain to people in the village why there's nothing being done by OPP when you can pretty openly see it happening and hear it. So I'm wondering, is that discussion at your Police Services Board meetings?
There was some discussion around the ATVs, and they're doing what they can. It's an issue throughout the town, throughout the county. Since COVID's been on, there's so many things, so many ATV problems, and I read something yesterday with regards to that in another meeting I was at. But yeah, they're doing what they can, and other than living here, there's only so much they can do. I don't know what it's like at the Matheson now that it's closed. I don't know if it's been an issue. I haven't had any complaints myself, but you know, it's the complaints I'm getting is on the streets and the roads and the loud exhaust. But the Matheson, I haven't heard anything. Councillor Webb had something there.
Yeah, just further to Councillor Ellis's point, they're in there nightly, and I guess possibly it's my fault for not attending one of these police services board meeting, but they need the police. I sit and watch them every day, sit across the highway for hours at a time. I don't know what they're like. I guess they're looking at speeders, but most of the people there, I mean, drive pretty reasonable. The real problem I see in the town is, as Councillor Ellis said, is up here behind our rink. So my question would be, why would a guy sit down on the highway for 2 hours when he should park his car up in the parking lot at Matheson? If at the very least he doesn't catch anybody, He stops the ATVs from going through there and maybe makes them think twice before the next time they get on it. But
Yep.
it's just constantly, they're up and down, they're on the highway all the time. They really like the highway, but they don't like to go into these other places where, you know, where the trouble is going on. And it's the same with the park at night when baseball is going on. They're ripping through there, there's crowds through there. There's no enforcement, and people are sitting there going, where are the police? Policeman will drive down George Street, drive down, the other way down 5 minutes later, doesn't even turn into the park. So they might tell you they're aware, they're not aware, because if they're aware, there would be a police car in that parking lot or around this park when this is going on. So I
So
would
have
like
you
to see a lot-
phoned, I really recommend council to tell the people that are complaining to phone the OPP so they know. Don't tell the counselor, because the counselor, you live their heart, so you should be phoning the OPP too and telling them. That's your thing as a counselor. If you want to phone them and ask them what they're doing, you should phone them. Their phone number is in the, Bob can direct you to them, or you can phone the 188. But
the problem I have with it is that this has been going on for a year, and in my mind, this is supposed to have been like in these police services boards meetings. I'm being told that this is being brought up and this is being discussed and it's being looked at and that, but nothing's being done. And I'm not saying that you, Mr. Mayor, I know you're doing your job in bringing it up, but I think there needs to be a little bit more push on the OPP here, because we're just getting patted on the head and saying, sorry guys, this is all we can do. And I'm not going to accept that, especially when I see them, as I said, parked, sitting on the highway, sometimes two of them sitting there talking for hours at a time. That is not public safety. That is a waste of taxpayers' dollars. So,
okay, I do know they watch these meetings, so I'll tell them to watch this section of the meeting and they can contact.
Please
council.
do. And I will try to be at the next police services board meeting.
Perfect. That's good. So Deputy Mayor Giroux, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, would it have any effect at all if we had our sign that's out in front of the community center have on it, no ATVs in the park? That's one thing that we might think about. The other comment I will make, a week ago today, we had a meeting with EOTA, Northumberland County, and some other ATV organizations had a meeting with the Department of Transport, and to try and get a one pass system, so it will make it easier for OPPs to say they're either here or they're not here, they're either legal or they're not legal. To make it, they threw the ball back in our court again, perhaps rightfully so, because there's too many players saying too many things. So about October, the end of October, we're going to have another meeting to try and address this again. But I know that doesn't alleviate the problems that we have, particularly in the Matheson property. I don't know what to say. We might have missed an opportunity back there. I know Councillor Webb has been working diligently to get a trail through. This takes time. There was a bridge taken out at the bridge back on Bowen Road or Preston Road. Could have been used perhaps back in there to get across that waterway. There's revenue or avenues we could take, but it is very frustrating. The ATVs are frustrating, and the province saw fit to open it up, and we're trying to clean it up. So I totally respect where everybody's coming from, and the ones that are obeying the law, kudos to them. The ones that aren't, I don't know what we're going to do with them. I really don't. And we can all drive downtown, walk downtown. We know it's the same ones, and they don't care.
And that's the problem. I see them going by up my road. It's part of the trail system, and they're going by here every day. And the problem is to try and get the timing to catch them. There's a regular time they can get them. I'm on a transportation master plan with the county, and my meeting yesterday, it's a part, off-road vehicles are a part of the discussion there, a big part of the discussion on where we go in the county. And it's really mixed throughout the county. And I know Norwood's trying to put a bylaw in to allow ATVs, and they went through some of the process, but some of the letters I'm seeing there, like, it doesn't matter if they're allowed or not, they're riding anyways. And to try and catch them it's not an easy task. But so that being said, I do like the idea of putting on the sign at the arena, no ATVs allowed in the Matheson property. And I would put the OPP phone number, 188, whatever it is, 310, whatever the number is, let's put it on there. And hopefully people use it and call the OPP and let them know, because I know I don't phone them every time it goes by my house, but I have probably 20 a day go by here with loud pipes. But I don't call everyone. So so at least we'll get the people calling the right people, because by the time a counselor hears it and brings it to the next meeting, it's long overdue. So we need it to go to them at that time. And if they need to be up behind the Matheson property sitting, that's something we should be telling them. So anyways, okay. So Larry, did you have anything else? You're muted.
Just, you took the words right out of my mouth. The sign ATV info on the municipal or the arena sign that Dave talked about. I think that's a great idea. I also think adding, as you said, the OPP number, so people see it and they'll think, oh, there they go, I'm going to phone. So I think that's a great idea, and hopefully some assistance.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so is there any other activity reports to come out here? If not, I'll look for a motion to receive the reports. Moved by Councillor Webb, seconder. Councillor Ellis. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, next on the list here is written or oh, sorry, we have a summary of the, no, that's, Bob, do you have that, the activities submitted by council? Do you need any motion for that? Sorry, I just got lost in my paperwork
Yeah,
here.
no, through you, Mayor Martin. No, we've just concluded that section of the meeting. It's all good.
Okay, all right then. Written or oral notice of motion. Is there any, I have no written. Is there any oral notice of motion to come forward? Councillor Pomeroy?
Yeah, excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I've had a few calls this last couple of weeks, and it's something I thought we dealt with last year, but evidently not. But it's people bringing their children to the park, and there's dogs in the park. And we had a bylaw that said, you know, there's no dogs allowed in the park. These people, you know, don't want their children stepping in doo-doo, and I don't blame them a bit. So anyway, I've proceeded to, you know, take it upon myself to look in the park, and someone has taken all the signs down for no dogs allowed in the park, both parks. And who is responsible for that? Because we do have a bylaw saying that we do enforce no dogs allowed in the park. So maybe I could direct that to Ryan. I don't know what happened to the signs.
Yeah, I seen the one at where the tennis court is. There is a sign there, because I had a call about it, and I thought the sign was missing, but I did see it there. But there is some that are missing in other parks, and I know we did designate a couple of parks for dogs, but that was a long time ago, so I don't know which ones they are now. But
the one on George Street, Jim, is what I'm talking about. That's the big one, and you know, there's a lot of people there. I know. I witnessed myself dogs in there last weekend and the weekend before. Sunday, there was 2 big dogs in the park down here beside the medical center. It's the whole thing of it is, where did the signs go?
yeah, and that's
Because we were explained there a year ago that, oh, I got some new signs and I took the old ones down. But if you take an old one down, you put a new one up at the same time. You don't discard them.
okay. So, like I say, there is one at the tennis court park. I was going to ask, similar to the previous conversation, because I had a call last night about a dog, and I just think the number should be on there for Deb Peg, our dog enforcement officer. I think the number should be on those signs too. So we have a way of directing people. They don't have to come home and phone us. But anyways, is Ryan there?
Good morning. Yes, we can look into, if we're missing a few signs, we can look into it and get them replaced. I wasn't aware of this issue prior to the meeting that there was an issue, so.
Okay.
You know, it should be looked into right away because they were all there and then all of a sudden they all disappeared. And I'm sure that, you know, Joe Public didn't take them down because we're trying to look out for our children. So anyway, look after it.
I have heard complaints that we don't know that dogs aren't allowed in the park, so who knows who took them down. But Ryan, if you could check into that. We did have a couple of parks that we were allowing them, and I'm not sure if it was Rotary Park or Kosh Beach. I can't remember, but maybe we can look back at the bylaw and see where they were allowed and where they weren't. But if there's signs missing, we need to get them back up.
Yeah, for sure. No, through you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, there definitely George Street Park is no dogs allowed, and I can assure council and that it wasn't staff that removed these signs. So if these signs have gone missing, we'll have them replaced and reinstalled.
Thank you, because I can't find any signs in George Street Park at all, and I drove around a couple of times.
So somebody stole it.
Okay.
Okay. All right, then it's Councillor Ellis, go ahead.
Just a quick one, you know, we have Ryan's attention here. The park up by the medical center, I've been there a few times over the summer with the grandkids and noticed the nice work that's been done there at the tennis court. Also, so on the north side, anyway, railroad's gone through there and they've done a lot of cleanup all the way down through our municipality. And on our side of the fence, there's some scruffy looking brush, trees, whatever, growing along in the area of the tennis court. And what I think would be quite attractive if that was taken out, leave the big trees for shade, but it would also kind of highlight the fact that we do have a nice tennis court there. If you're sitting at Tim Hortons, for an example, and you looked over, you could see the nice tennis court. It may possibly attract people, but we'll just clean it up a little bit. Ryan, if you could have a look at that, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, so, okay, we're in oral notice of motion. Just if there's anybody wanting to make a motion, that's what this is for the next meeting. But so then we'll move into new business here. And the new business we have scheduled here is the railway tracks on County Road 30. Go ahead, Barry.
Just one other question, Jim, Mr. Mayor, while I'm at it.
We got a state of the agenda, guys, or we're going to be here all day.
I know, but this is something that's very important. Did you get in hold of Marion Monsaf about the railway tracks? I know I got it on the agenda in the next part there, but
I haven't been able to get a hold of her. So, and that, I don't know, now I'm having questioning because I was told it's not a federal thing, it's a CP thing. So I'm getting some mixed messaging there.
well, can we make a motion that we get a hold of somebody, because this has gone on way too long. Bob, you got some answers?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. As per council direction, staff has sent a letter to Marion Monsef regarding this matter. As of today, no response yet, but that correspondence has been sent. Our manager of public works has reached out to CP Rail to try to resolve this problem. Again, so far, no response, but staff is working on this matter. If there are any alternate solutions, we're happy to examine them.
And they did a beautiful job up on 44, and it'd be nice if they could do the same on 30. But anyways, so it it's being taken care of, and I don't know why it's taken so long.
Okay, can we get the county involved in this too, because it's a county road?
Peter? Have you dealt with the county on this too?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. No, I have not reached out to the county yet. I've, as Bob has mentioned, I've contacted the railway numerous times here and received nothing, but I will definitely reach out to the county and see if they can assist in this as well.
Okay,
Thank you, Pete.
all right then. Yeah, it is a mess there, so. Okay, our next item here on new business is Dave Giroux with Children at Play signs on Mary Street South.
Thank you, Mayor Martin. At our last Police Services Board meeting, which I attended, there was great discussion on the black hat and where it goes and how it performs. And we still have a problem on Mary Street South, the 8th concession of speeders. At that time, I asked if it would be of any assistance to have children playing signs that came from our municipality, the regular signs, the legal signs put up. And it certainly would be a deterrent that would help us in this regard. I know that some of the residents down there have children playing yellow signs hanging off their mailboxes or out in their front yard. That's a community down there that is seems to be growing with young children. Just recently, another family has moved in, so it's getting to be it used to be. I don't want to use the terminology of older people down there, but it's getting to be young families in that area now, and they are concerned. So we did have last year, our Public Works Department put on North School Road the regular children playing signs. And to assist in this problem we have with the speeding, I would ask council, I would make a motion that we ask our Public Works Department to put children playing signs on a section of the road down on Mary Street South. And unfortunately, I don't have the 99 numbers where they should go, but I would be more than willing to work with Peter to take a drive down there and point out the young families that are living there and perhaps where they should go. But I would like to see that done, Mr. Mayor, to cover our responsibilities in the township. Thank you.
Okay. All right then, and I know what you're talking about. It is a fast road, so we must have done a good job on that one as far as smoothing it out. So anyways, so the motion would be that we work with Public Works to look at installing a couple of, or some children at play signs on the 8th line. That's a mover. Seconder, Councillor Palmer, are you seconding that?
Yeah, with a question. That's south of Old Norwood Road, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a mover and a seconder. All in favor of that motion? And that's carried. Okay. And next, a couple of things I had there was bylaw enforcement. The summertime is so busy with bylaw enforcement. We've heard about so many things. Every meeting we're getting, or every week we're getting complaints. I think it's something that we should look at in the future as far as for next year. For the summer months, a lot of municipalities are upping their bylaw enforcement as far as maybe doubling up on what we have out there to take care of it. I think if you talk to the bylaw enforcement officer or you talk to staff, it's been crazy to try and keep up. And I just think when we get into the budget, it might be something to look at, that we do a better job in the summer months by adding some hours to the operation to try and get these things taken care of in a more efficient manner, in a more timely manner. So it's just more of a, I guess it's something to think about for the future. But I think if you listen to the people, it's taking a long time to deal with some of these things, and it might be something that we need to look at for next summer to help out in that department. And the other part I had there was around the long-term care. Bob and I talked to Brad Smith last week from Aon. I was hoping to have more information, so I had it put onto the agenda, and there's not a lot other than their commitment is still there, and they're dealing with a lot of things that I think it's called the development plan from the province. They're still waiting from the province for the changes that are coming forward, so they can put them into their design. I think one of the things with air conditioning is something new that may be a part of it. Without getting too specific, there's a lot of things that I was hoping if we had Dave here like he was supposed to be today, we would have been able to maybe ask him a couple of questions, but we will still be able to in the future. But there was mention of some help that the province was supposed to be coming forward with, and that hasn't came forward yet. So there's some mixed messaging there, but all I want council to know is talking to Brad, he's going to be sending us a letter, but the commitment is there, and he looks forward to being able to get things moving here. That's about all I can say right now, but I just want you to know we are working on it still, and the public needs to know that too, that we're not sitting waiting. We're talking to all the parties involved and trying to keep this thing moving, and that's where the stall is right now. Is things are changing rapidly around long-term care, as you know, and there's going to be a lot of changes from what it looked like before to what it's going to look like in the future, even as far as staffing. So let's just keep, I guess that's just an update I can give you right now. So, but it was a good conversation, and those things about there seems to be a gap there between the province and Aon that hopefully can be addressed here. He was going to send a letter actually after we spoke to him. So, okay, other than that, there's not a lot I can get into, as you know. So, so is there anything else under other business? Seeing none, I'll look for a motion to receive that. Moved by Councillor Webb, seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux. All in favor, and that's carried. So I'm going to move into. Oh, sorry. There's the closed session meetings there from Bob. The report there. I'll look for a motion to receive them. The update on moved by Councillor Webb and seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. All in favor, and that's carried. With that, we'll move into bylaws. And the first bylaw we already dealt with. The second bylaw is to authorize the mayor and the clerk to execute a site plan agreement between the corporation of the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen and Trent Building Supply Limited, care of Ken Williams. I'll look for that motion to authorize that. Moved by Councillor Pomeroy, seconded by Councillor Webb. All in favor? Carried. And the last one there is a bylaw to authorize a lease agreement with Pippin Grover, the dentist in Havelock-Belmont-Methuen Medical Center. Councillor Pomeroy?
Yeah, I have a question on this one.
Okay.
I would like it to go into caucus because there's a financial matter there.
Okay. All right then. So we'll defer this bylaw to the next meeting. I guess it's the way would that be the way to do it here, Bob?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. If we're unable to pass or deny this bylaw at this point, we can defer it to the next meeting.
Okay. Okay, so I'll look for a motion to defer this bylaw. Moved by Councillor Pomeroy, seconder. Councillor Ellis, question?
With a question through you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Could this not be added to our, seeing that we're having a closed session today, could this not be added for discussion and closed?
We can try. It's a pretty lengthy close, but can it be added, Bob?
Through you, Mayor Martin, yes, the answer is yes. We can add this item if council so desires.
Okay, so you're moving that, Councillor Ellis, to add it to a closed session?
I would move that through you, Mr. Mayor, time permitting.
Okay, seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. All in favor? And that's carried. All right then. So thank you, everyone. That was a pretty good meeting as far as we got her done by 12:30, almost. Anyway, so I look for the confirming bylaw for today's meeting. Moved by Councillor Webb, seconded by Councillor Ellis. All in favor? That's carried. And a motion to adjourn moved by Councillor Pomeroy, seconded by Councillor Webb. All in favor? And that's carried.